Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us for our press event today to talk about the remastering of our flagship, Queen Mary 2. As I think most of you know, the ship is going to be undergoing a significant refit at the end of May. And today I'm very pleased that we have our executives here to give you a little bit more detail and fill you in more about what's happening with remastering. I'm Jackie Chase, and I am the Director of Public Relations for Cunard in North America. And to my right, I have Angus Struthers, who is our Vice President of Marketing. We have Richard Meadows, our President for Cunard in North America, and David Noyes, our CEO for Cunard. So thanks again for being here. We'll just go ahead and jump right in. So I thought what we'd do is we'd start today, David, with you. And I think it would be great to hear about the idea behind Queen Mary 2's remastering happening now and the investment that the company is taking and why at this time to have this happening with our iconic flagship.
Okay, thank you, Jackie. Well, good afternoon, everybody, and thank you very much for coming along to this occasion. As Jackie said, this is a very significant moment for us. This is the most significant refit that Carnival UK has undertaken. And Queen Mary 2 has an iconic place in the cruise world. She is the only ocean-going liner in the world, and as such is iconic. She's 12 years old, and we decided that now is the right time for us to invest further in the ship to really affirm that iconic status. If you like, the best gets even better, and that's why we've called it Queen Mary 2 Remastered, because it is all about remastering this iconic ship.
And I wonder if you could just speak a little bit about the development process with remastering and the importance and the feedback from guests. How did our guests inform what was going to be happening with the ship's remastering?
Absolutely. So, I mean, feedback from our guests, in particular our loyal Cunarders, is absolutely, there's nothing more important for us in this whole process. So everything that we're doing in the remaster program, and as you're about to hear, has been driven by the comments that we've had from loyal Cunarders, but also luxury travellers around the world who we think would really enjoy the Cunard experience, as well as also talking to a lot of our crew, many of whom have served with us for many years, and getting their ideas as well. And the way we do all of this is we run the typical sort of research groups, online surveys, that sort of thing. But in particular, we've done a lot of work face-to-face with our guests on board over the last 12 months.
And I think that it's important to highlight just setting some context around how Cunard really differentiates ourselves and how the refit is really going to play out in terms of our place in that landscape and how we distinguish ourselves.
So absolutely. So Cunard has this almost unique position in the cruise world. On the one hand, last year we celebrated 175 years of Cunard. So you could argue that Cunard invented the whole concept of luxury cruising. But on the other hand, we also have one of the youngest and newest fleets in the cruise world. And so we actually spend a lot of our time balancing, if you like, between this history and tradition, and that in particular the tradition of the ocean-going liner, with equally meeting the needs of today's luxury traveller and making sure that we continue to be confident and relevant for today's luxury traveller. Now, Queen Mary 2 Remastered continues that theme. It's all about understanding the needs of today's luxury traveller, at the same time as we're taking inspiration from the traditions and the history of Cunard, and in particular the history of the ocean going liner. And that's what you're going to hear a little bit more about in a minute. And one thing in particular you'll see is the sheer attention to detail that we have gone to, the lengths we've gone to with this remaster program, to make sure that we remain grounded in all that is great about British style and refinement, British luxury style and refinement, at the same time as understanding the needs of today's luxury traveller.
And I think, really dovetailing on that is something we talk about at Cunard is our experience is evocative of luxury on a grand scale. So Rick, can you talk us through that a little bit? What does that mean?
Certainly, and good afternoon, everyone. It's nice to see so many friends and faces that I've known for many years, so welcome. I read something recently, and it said, what makes a true luxury brand is a combination of things. It's history, craftsmanship, attention to detail, and rarity. And if you just pause for a moment and think about those items, it really pays off the whole notion of our moniker of luxury on a grand scale. And I have no doubt that the work that's taking place on the Queen Mary 2 will really continue to hold this ship up in a way that she will continue her legacy and story that's going to be exciting. And when you came in today, there was a video playing where you had a chance to see possibly some of the spaces of the ship that will be affected by this great refit. And I'll highlight a couple of them, and I'll go in the order of some slides so that you can take a look. We're doing a number of things on the accommodation side that are quite powerful. One of them that's had a particular interest is the fact that we'll be adding 15 single staterooms, and this will be for our solo travelers, which is a segment of the industry that we are confident will continue to grow and have significant demand, which has also been, by the way, successful on our other two ships, the Queen Victoria and the Queen Elizabeth. We're going to be redesigning the balcony staterooms with new soft goods and features, and those will be done throughout time, so that'll be a change to the ship. We'll be adding 30 Britannia Club staterooms, and for those of you that are familiar with the success of the Britannia Club dining concept on board, these are staterooms that
the modern luxury cruise line experience. We also have a history of making sure that we are relevant and contemporary. This year is the original Queen Mary's 80th anniversary, so it would have been a miss for us providing what's relevant that we take those cues from our heritage. So SMC, the design company, and our in-house designers spent a lot of time up at the Cunard area and really poring over the photographs of not only Queen Mary but other classic liners. Art Deco cues, the colour scheme cues, for example, the circular geometric pattern in the Queen's Grill suites, that's echoing the circular geometric patterns of the carpets. We're also wanting to make sure that we are reminding people of that authentic past. And we commissioned an architectural photographer called Paul Ward, who spent a couple of months researching the Cunard buildings in Liverpool, in New York, and Southwestern House in Southampton. And he went and photographed them. And selection of those images will feature in every stateroom, in every suite. And for those that haven't seen those buildings, they are truly remarkable. The Cunard building in Liverpool is in fact one of the three Graces that are a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and we believe that it's holds that status of World Heritage, and it's a great opportunity to remind people. So every time they go into this, we're pleased to launch a video all inspired by the originals that gives you a bit of a flavour of the lengths that we went to show that authentic attention to detail.
in Queen Mary 2's remastering. It really was a true inspiration. Getting the attention to detail right was really important. We worked very hard in terms of how to develop carpet patterns and colours. We went through many iterations and design development. Queen Mary had a wealth of Art Deco touches that we designs.
The brief was actually a combination of staying true to Cunard identity as a brand heritage and to inject a lot of elements of the Cunard heritage into our designs.
I think the greatest challenge has been to introduce still fittings and just kept it so it was very contemporary but also had that level of luxury involved in it as well. People will feel when they first see Queen Mary 2 coming out of refit is a great sense of pride.
Massive undertaking. I hope the end result is befitting of the greatest liner I see.
Peek into the design inspiration. Switching gears and going back to our grills experience, which is, as we know, a hallmark of Cunard. Rick, can you talk a little bit about, a little more detail about how the refit's really going to...
How many of you have, by chance, sailed with us in one of our grill suites? Okay, so you have a fair bit of experience. It is truly a special experience, and the refit will take the level that we're at and certainly bring us to yet a... It is sailing in the grills. It's very much an intimate, exclusive club feeling with the special accommodations that are all a veranda suite that have the beautiful assigned dining, whether it's in the Princess Grill or Queen's Grill, depending on your suite assignment. The amount of additional space you have by using as well as all the things that make the grills special in your accommodations, whether it's the butler experience in your Queen's Grill suite, to the pillow menus, to the Van Helgen's toiletries. There's so many things that really... the refit, though, will just make everything that much more crisp, that much more sharp, and I think will take the appointments and really hone them in. There'll certainly be a number of things that we'll be doing on the culinary side, and we'll be talking about that a little bit more. But it is going to have an impressive change to the overall grills experience. It's very exciting.
And I think we're going to be revealing today 2 new renderings that relate to the Queen's Grill. This is going to be, we'll get it up on the screen in a minute. We're going to have, this is a rendering of a duplex apartment and a penthouse suite. So Angus, do you want to talk through that a little bit?
Yeah, so what we try to do in the design is make sure that all of the design, but what we try to do as well is make sure that each of the areas have a distinct look and feel. So whilst the colour palettes, so you'll see some imperial blues, some antique golds, but these two suites are, the Sandringham suite is one of the duplexes, so 2,250 square feet of duplex. So there's the downstairs living area, and then upstairs is the master bedroom with the his and hers changing facilities, his and hers bathrooms, and then the penthouse suite. Interestingly, one of the things that Dave referred to was taking all of our, making sure that we're listening to the guest feedback. Grills is an interesting one, where there's 2 things that we took out. Princess Grill suites, we took out one of the sofas because we were hearing loud and clear that space is very important. We wanted most space, but actually, when you go into the research, actually it's not at any price, and the sofas were reintroduced, and then the grill suites, and another bit of attention to detail was we took out the writing desk because we wanted to just create a unit that people could store things on. But what came out was actually a writing desk, and they wanted it near the window. So we took all of those cues. and you'll see that everything from the positioning of the furniture to how the room. So as I said, the ground duplex on the left-hand side, the Sandringham Suite, and then the penthouse suite, which is known as the records.
And just, kind of continuing the theme of how design is informing the guest experience, and not just the aesthetic, but the functionality. And talk a little bit more about how that's happening with the refit in terms of the staterooms, for example.
So I mentioned a couple of the examples of the staterooms where we were very much making sure we listened to the guest feedback. But the other thing that you're hearing loud and clear throughout all of this is that Remastered isn't just about the physical enhancements. It's every aspect of the experience on board. Spaces and how they're being enhanced. But there's also the dining. All of the dining aspects on board are being reviewed. We deliver the complete experience. And the dining areas are, if you take Queen's Grill and the Princess Grill restaurants that you can see on there, they had to be reconfigured. All this so that we can make sure that we do have more tables for two. But equally, we want to make sure that it's an area that can be served promptly. One of the things that Grills is renowned for is the theatre of the dining experience. So the flambeing, the carving at the table side, that all requires space to get to the tables. So all of this is, as Dave mentioned earlier, it's attention to detail. It's making sure that these spaces work well, that our guests are left in no doubt that this is a luxurious experience, and it's akin to.
And I think that the Britannia Club has proven to be a really popular accommodation tier that we offer. And so obviously we're adding a significant number of Britannia Club accommodation, but that guest feedback has also informed other developments from the Britannia Club.
So you're absolutely right. Britannia Club, as we talked about, has dedicated dining facilities. Also, what we're doing now is making sure that we're adding another 30. So that means that the dining facilities have had to be enlarged. And also news today is we are pleased to announce that Britannia Club will become a stateroom type that's offered on all three ships. So until this point, it's only been on Queen Mary II and Queen Elizabeth. And when Queen Victoria goes in for her dry dock in 2017, she too will have Britannia Club.
Pretty exciting. Okay, so we kind of touched on this at the beginning, but we know that solo travel is really important. So I just thought I'd direct this to you, David. We know this is important across all of the hospitality industry. So can you just chat a little bit more about that in terms of our what we're doing?
So as Rick's already said, we're introducing single cabins on Queen Mary II, and following in the lead of what we've already done on both Queen Elizabeth and Queen Victoria. We found them very popular on both those ships, and I was amused that it came up at the State of the Industry this morning, as if it was something new. And I felt like sort of just pointing out that actually on the original Queen Elizabeth, Queen Mary, and indeed QE2, there absolutely were single cabins. And so we're following in that tradition. We recognise that actually the solo traveller, this is really important, and we're one of the few lines that, for example, we've always had dance hosts specifically for single travellers. So to us, it's just something that it's an important part of the market that we should serve, and so we're going to make sure that we do it.
Great. And then just going back to the kennels, just really briefly. I know we're so enamored with our kennels. But I think that there's, in terms of this attention to detail, there's something fun that's in the works around the kennels. So
I'd just like to put one as well. So kennels, like single staterooms, is not new to Cunard. Queen Mary the original Queen Mary had kennels. And there's an interesting story there when the Duke of Windsor was on board. He made the kind suggestion that maybe our four-legged friends, when they were having their daily walk, would feel more at home if there was a lamppost, just to make them feel comfortable. And one was duly installed. And then on QE2, a fire hydrant was installed just to make sure that we're an egalitarian design and making sure that our American four-legged friends were feeling as comfortable as our British four-legged friends. But a great example of the attention to detail that we're putting into this is we could have just gone and sourced a fire hydrant and a lamppost to put them on board. But we've actually managed to find a lamppost that, as close as we can tell, is from a couple of streets away from the original Cunard building in Liverpool. That building celebrates its centenary of its opening this year, and as close as we can tell, within 5 years either side, it was installed in 1916. It comes with a live bird on it. And again, this is
You might want to
authentic.
clarify what you mean by a live
So
bird.
a live bird is the
That's what it sounds like.
a live bird is a type of bird and is the emblem of Liverpool, that great city. So
Guess it's not a
It's-
live.
after 100 years. So yeah, the challenge is now that we will pay the same attention to detail in the sourcing of the fire hydrant, and that challenge has duly been accepted by.
New York fire hydrant, looking for the right one.
Yeah. So just to clarify, so on the kennels, so there were 12 on Queen Mary 2. There'll be an additional 10 that we put on board. Another thing about kennels is that we try and replicate the experience that our guests will have on board to our four-legged friends. So they will have daily walkies. They will have food cooked for them fresh every day. They'll be given a dog blanket and a little coat to mark the occasion of the transatlantic crossings. And Queen Mary 2 is the only way that our four-legged friends can travel across the Atlantic. You know, they sell out very, very quickly. You know, pretty much there's rarely a cabin more than within 12 months of departure. So very pleased to be expanding this year.
So we're just going to spend a couple more minutes talking about the Culinary, the new Culinary kind of experience. First, we're going to talk a little bit more about the veranda. I'm going to ask you, Rick, to take us through that a little bit, and then we'll jump into a little bit about the Corinthia and the King's Court and some of those things.
So I'll start with the veranda. If you go back again to our history, the veranda holds its original place on the Queen Mary, and in roughly around 1936 was a well-loved basis that eventually became one of the reasons of separate dining for our grill guests. And so we have successfully taken that concept, and it is on board the existing two ships, the Queen Elizabeth and the Queen Victoria, and we'll be taking the space that is currently, as you see, and transforming it into this beautiful, beautiful restaurant. Again, as Angus said, taking cues from our history and design and style. The artwork around the walls are very light and whimsical, but this beautiful carpet is a very historical black carpet that you would have found on the original veranda. So the authenticity of bringing back that deco point and all the points in history is important in this space. Alternative dining is something that is critical. Specialty dining, when you're on a crossing, you like all those various choices of dining, so we know that this will be popular. The menus are being reimagined and rethought by two of our finest culinarians, and that's Nick and Mark Alderoyd, and so they'll be taking this menu and really doing a great job in evolving it. The new menu will roll to the other two ships in the fleet. So the veranda is going to be a great story. Here's a sampling of some of the items that you'll find in the veranda.
I think can you talk us through a little bit more about the Corinthia Lounge and about King's Court and what those experiences are going to be like?
Yeah, so I think it's important to talk about them at the same time. They are neighbouring venues. The Corinthia Lounge takes the place of what was the Winter Gardens. If we're honest, the Winter Gardens, it lacked a true sense of identity and purpose. but one of the things that was highly valued about it was that it was a space that people could just go and read, that they could go and do their emails, that it was one of the benefits that luxury on a grand scale offers our guests. There was also feedback for more premium coffee outlets. So we combined the two, and Corinthia Lounge was born. What you'll find is it's a very versatile place and venue that moves from breakfast through to lunch, through to the evening. It'll be where some of the parties will be held, but it's got distinct areas. So about a half of it will be still lounge area, and half of it will be dedicated to dining. On the dining front for breakfast, it'll be doing charcuteries, it'll be fresh croissants, cakes, individually plated seafood items. You'll see that when you'll meet Nick soon, what we've done is we've made sure that we've looked at the entire dining concept of the ship. So we've said, for all of our guests, irrespective of what stateroom they're staying in, what are their options for breakfast, what are the options for lunch, what are the options for dinner, making sure that we've got variety and making sure that people have got choice. So one of the items from the choice perspective is, whilst there is 24-hour room service, there was also a call for tea and coffee facilities. So I'm pleased to say that tea and coffee facilities will be in every stateroom following the refurbishment. But the Corinthia Lounge provides an alternative to King's Court. King's Court is visited by 90% of our guests. And again, if we're honest, it needed attention. It's a very elongated space. It's not the most intuitive spaces at the moment. So much as the process by which we looked at the Queen's Grill dining, we had to start with a blank canvas. And what was critical was that we had a central area for serving the buffet experience. However, in order to facilitate that, we unfortunately have 2 lifts that come right into the middle of the area that is the natural home for the serving and the buffet experience. So we will be taking out the lifts. That's the length that we are going to make this space work as absolutely best as it can do. So something like 8 points of entry and exit at the moment. And if ever you designed a hospitality space, that's not helpful. So by taking out some of the lifts, we're also closing off one of the entrance. It's much more intuitive. You'll come to this grand hall, and the hall is much more about the interaction that you're going to get with the chefs. So there's a cold chef's preparation galley, and the opposite side is a hot preparation. So you'll have sushi and sashimi being prepared daily for you in front of you. You'll have Santa Fe salads, and on the other side you'll have noodles that will be prepared for you. And we're trying to make sure that throughout all of the dining experiences that we're really reflecting the international appeal of Cunard. You know, we are absolutely British at heart, but we carry international guests. We need to make sure that the dining experience appeals to all of those guests and that we have the flexibility to be able to change those offerings. So when we have more German guests on that are embarking at Hamburg, we've got the opportunity to have more bratwurst and German sausages from the counter. When we've got more American guests on, we'll have the Santa Fe salads. And it's about that flexibility, not just in the King's Court, but in the Winter Gardens, and looking throughout the day. The other thing that's new that we're announcing today is that one of the alternative dining options will be the smokehouse. So this will be baby back ribs, it'll be the finest loaded skins. It will be much more about that barbecue nature that will appeal to American guests, we're sure. And again, so it's following that variety and giving people choice.
I think we have a video that's going to give you just a glimpse of the culinary creative process with Mark Oldroyd.
Mark and his brother Nicholas,
Yes.
and try and spot the difference.
Culinary 2 Remastered means much more than just a beautiful new interior design. We are enhancing and refining the onboard experience for all our guests. We've been working in the galley here on board and back in our development kitchen in the UK to develop new recipes, experiment with ingredients and techniques that come up with something really special. It's about the quality and provenance of our ingredients, making sure we deliver the absolute best to our guests every time. I'm also fortunate to be working with my brother on this exciting project. That's made it really special for me. It's given me extra support and the ability to bounce ideas around. We're focusing on getting everything just right, excellence in everything we do. As well as redesigning these new menus, we've been rigorously testing them, making sure they're absolutely perfect before launching them on the remastered Culinary 2. It's all about quality. Quality of ingredients, quality of the presentation, and the absolute attention to detail. I'm really proud of what we've achieved. I'm sure our new dining concepts on board a remastered Culinary 2 will be befitting of the greatest ocean liner at sea.
So I'm very conscious of time. It's gone by very quickly, actually, and we have a little surprise for you, and then we're going to take a few questions because we're going to be concluding in about 15 minutes. So that's going to be coming in just a moment. Maybe while that's happening, Rick, maybe you could just speak very briefly about the importance of the travel trade to us during the remastering.
Certainly, I think
it's going to appeal to the travel trade.
Absolutely. One of the things we're excited about, I think, around the world is how this will resonate with the travel trade. And travel agents play a role to Cunard that is critical in that they help us articulate the value of this experience and put it into words for prospects in a way that they can understand it and really value that. So what we're encouraged about and just really enthusiastic is how do we tell the story to the trade and to bring this forward. So it's a great opportunity for agents around the world. Absolutely.
And David, do you think that while we're starting to, we have our White Star Bellman here today, they're bringing in some samples of our new cuisine and a glass of champagne for everybody here. So we'd love to take some questions, and I thought, David, maybe you could just conclude the sort of formal part of our presentation with a
So you'd like me to give a 10-minute presentation which nobody's going to listen to as the alcohol comes out. I hope you get a sense from everything that we've talked about this afternoon that Queen Mary 2 Remastered really underscores our commitment to our flagship. She is the only true ocean-going liner in the world, and this, her 12-year mark, is a real statement of how we're looking to invest in her iconic status. And also, I hope you get a sense of how we are representing what we believe is some of the best of British design, British style and refinement, and in particular, attention to detail. I hope you've got a sense of, from the descriptions that we've gone through, and in particular the two videos we've shown, the lengths that we've gone to understand the needs and expectations of today's luxury traveller, and how we're going to not just meet those expectations, but actually exceed those expectations. So thank you very much for coming and joining us today, and we're more than welcome to take any questions. We've also got Nick behind us, who's got some of his samples here, and he's more than happy to share his recipes. Not.
I'm glad you told us which one it was.
It's a challenge to us, I tell you. They regularly play tricks on us as to who's who.
Yeah, we're very excited to have the Oldroyd twins with Cunard. They're very unique, being the only executive chef twins in the industry. Very talented, have been with Cunard for many years, and we're definitely looking forward to telling you more about them in the future and having you all get to know them. And the remastering is going to be a great launching pad for us to introduce you all to them more. So does anybody have any questions? We have about 10 minutes or so. Does anyone have any questions? Can you stand, please? Thank you.
This morning, as you mentioned, the solo cabins were kind of, not a loss leader exactly, but, they'll have them because people want them. What's your attitude towards the solo cabin?
Exactly that. It's meeting a guest need. It's something that Cunard's done, as I referred to. It's something that was on the original Queen Elizabeth, Queen Mary, and on QE2. And so it's something that we found very popular on both Queen Elizabeth and Queen Victoria. And so we thought it was only right for it to have it on Queen Mary as well.
I'm good with
It's
it.
not a great revenue source.
Thanks to the demand, it is a good revenue source.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Carolyn, do you mind standing up? Thank you.
I'm only 80 different, I'm still short.
So we can hear you better, that's all.
I'm curious about, you talked about reimagining the grills dining and the addition of two tops, which I think is amazing and awesome, and I applaud that. Are you changing are you changing up or shaking up the style of dining in those two rooms as a result? Can you tell us more about that? Like less assigned seating or not?
Well, I'll start and then jump in. We've spent an incredible amount of time thinking about the culinary experience itself, the food. And so there is a whole project underway to really recast while still paying tribute to some of those standards that everyone loves on Cunard. So you will see a refreshed grills dining experience from a menu point of view. The ultimate dining is it's your table for the entire voyage, and it's come at any time you would like, which is something that's quite a luxury, and that won't stay because that's the real one of the real value points of grills dining. Anything?
Again, Grills has an incredibly loyal following, so we have to pay particular attention to making sure that we continue to meet the expectations of our loyal Grills customers. So you will find that the menu is condensed. It's much more about the quality, it's the finesse, it's the attention to detail, it's the provenance. But we're making sure that we keep those Grills classics, so the beef Wellington, for example, the crêpe Suzette, the Dover sole, and I think that it's the theatre that differentiates the Grills dining experience. It's that attention to detail. It's the flambeing by the side of the table. We want to make sure we capture that, and also we recognise, especially for Queen's Grill, it's the ability to order off the menu. So whilst it'll be the finest dining at sea, there's also sometimes you might want something that's not on the menu, and we encourage people to order off the menu. And sometimes you just want, the home comforts. So if you want cheese on toast, then that's available, and that's not uncommon. And especially for something like a world voyage where you're on there for 120 nights, sometimes it's just that home comfort. And Mr. Honeywell's agreed.
A big part of the dining is our White Star service, and we have really reinvested heavily back into the whole service ethos of Cunard as a brand, and you'll find that paying off and through in the dining experience. And I think that one of the benefits of sailing in the Grills is you get to know your wait team so well that they understand what it is that you like, and they're able to deliver that. And that's also something that will not change. Highly valued.
And we've been trialing the Grills menus on Queen Elizabeth. So this will be a refined menu when it's launched post the refit.
Laurel Herman, recommend. Hybrid. I actually, a question for you. You said how the travel agent market is really important to you. Will there be any special incentives coming out for travel agents with the Queen to Culinary to remaster?
Well, certainly, what our goal is to do is to really be able to tell this story and to make sure that agents understand what has changed about the ship and all the elements that make Cunard such a unique brand. We are going to have some things that will roll out around the period of the ship coming out of dry dock, so I would just say stay tuned.
Okay.
John Honeywell. I know this will make me sound like an old fuddy-duddy, and I'm sure you I'm not, but amongst all the changes, what will the regular, frequent passenger find that they're used to and that they're familiar with?
So they will, whilst they will walk on board the ship and they will see every area of the ship has been addressed, be that through carpets, be that through new facilities such as the Culinary Lounge, but the heart and soul of Cunard absolutely remains. It is about the service standards. It's about being welcomed on board by the steward that has looked after you on previous visits. It's about making sure that style of service is still absolutely spot on. The Cunard experience still stays true, that it's about that sense of occasion. It's, we sometimes talk about it and hear from our guests that it's an event more than just a holiday. It's an experience, and that is absolutely core to what we offer. We touch that at our peril, and so we're very conscious of that.
John's asking is, will the Golden Lion pub get a review? I was going to ask that.
So the actual pub is not being refurbished as with the other venues, but the menu is being looked at.
No
and the
fish
menu,
and chips?
No, so it'll be even finer fish and
Fill my
There,
heart.
there'll still be fish and chips.
there will still be fish and chips.
I love the pub.
And it's right near the casino.
By design.
Strategy. Other questions? Yes. Could you stand, please?
Yeah.
Thank you.
What about entertainment? What do you offer?
That's a great question.
So entertainment is, again, we make sure that the entertainment's available throughout the day. Sometimes entertainment on cruise ships is often just talked about production shows. The production shows will continue to be a very important part, but we also have our Renowned Insights lecture programme. That's very important to us, and we want to make sure that we're still getting a fascinating variety of people to talk, that people that have shaped the world, from politicians through to astronauts, through to forensic scientists, through to Olympic gold medalists. That is absolutely crucial to us, but so is other daytime activities. So not only can you go and relax in the library, the largest libraries at sea, but you can also learn to fence. You can also learn to do watercolour painting. The daily programme is a raft of options, and I think the danger is that people often think of entertainment just as the production shows in the evening, but it's not. We very much think of it as happening throughout the day.
But I think what's also important to highlight is that we also have several sort of theme cruises that are upcoming. I mean, we're continuing our relationship with Blue Note. We have 2 Blue Note Jazz crossings this year, with Herbie Hancock headlining in August and Gregory Porter returning in October. We're launching our first annual fashion crossing with some really key, interesting people in the world of fashion. That's going to continue into 2017. And there's other specialty cruises. One is going to be around arts and literature. There's going to be a culinary cruise around the British Isles. So that whole area is definitely continuing to evolve, I think, in a really exciting way.
Absolutely, and it's testament to the power and influence of the Cunard brand that we're able to attract some of these names. So if we take the fashion cruise this year, Queen Mary 2 will enter New York on the day that New York Fashion Week starts. So we have Dame Zandra Rhodes, the British fashion designer, who will be talking about her background in design. We also have Fern Malice on board, who started New York Fashion Week. We have the London Royal College of Art, and the final year fashion students will be showcasing their finals shows that will be we'll have some store model agencies wearing those clothes. We'll have Colin McDowell, an art historian who's written more than 20 books on fashion. We'll be talking about the history of fashion and choosing clothes that are right for you. Again, it's not just because of that connection to New York Fashion Week, but it's back to I talked about earlier, the sense of occasion. That sense of dressing up, that sense of getting out of the norm, of making the most of the holiday experience is part of the Cunard experience. So it's trying to find event cruises that marry up to what's great about Cunard.
So, unfortunately, Rick and David actually need to leave us, so I don't know if we have any other questions. Angus can stay for a few more minutes, but if not, I think we're going to conclude. And we really appreciate all of you coming out to hear about Culinary 2's remastering. We're excited to be telling you more in the coming months and showing you in person.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you all
everyone.
very much for coming.
Much appreciated.
Thank you.